Welcome back. Thank you everybody tuning in. Alex Simpson, Apex Racing Academy here for another one of the McLaren tutorials. In this week's video, it was the last part. We're just covering how to convert a race set into a quali set. Hopefully now you've gone through everything. So we've covered all about the MG UK, the DRS, how to manage the modes. We've looked at obviously the tyres, setting up cambers, pressures, using Motec just to try and find those, how to feel the right pressure just for you, what you're looking for in the data. Gone through how to set up the aero balance, talking about the suspension, the heaves, how that all affects the aero balance as well, and then the specific individual components for the car as well in with regards to the ARB, torsion bars, all that sort of goodness, as well as we went into the dampers as well, and then just most recently we looked at like the fine tuning really, so the differential and the brake bias, just to sort of get that car more suited for your driving style, even if you grabbed a set from somebody else. Like little changes like that can really help. In this final part, we just want to cover really what you need to do when you get hold of a race set. How do you go about converting it into a qualifying set? It sounds really simple, but a lot of people do struggle with that. So right, let's just take a quick look at what we've got here. And right now we've just got the spar baseline that was shared on the forum, and at the moment we've got the full 66 kilos. Of course, if you need to adjust fuel down, then you can do, but we're just putting in the maximum that you can get. Now, obviously the most important thing really is we need to change the fuel. Now, so what we're going to initially do is we're going to take a note of what our ride heights are, because typically these ride heights will be set to somewhere around sort of optimal what you need. So we're 24.9, so let's just say 25, and we're 110.9, so let's say 111. Now when we adjust the ride heights, obviously that's going to change quite dramatically. Way they come down now. At Spa, I'm thinking we're probably going to need something like 5 kilos for a lap. And right, so what's changed now, and this is what catches people out very, very quickly, is sometimes when we drop the fuel out, the spring deflection here will throw up an error, and you'll be like, oh no, what do I do? What do I do? Well, to start off with, let's not worry about that right now. Let's go and get this ride height at the rear back to what is it? No, sorry. Before we do that, we also need to look at the tyre pressures as well, because we've set these tyre pressures up to be good for a race. So as the run goes on, obviously the tyre pressures equalise up. Now you're not going to need that big a split for qualifying. Now, if you take an easy out lap, there's no reason why you can't just go and put them on an even pressure for a 1 lap run. Now, I just happen to know at bar, we want 1 click down there, but we do want the front on an even. So that will also affect the ride heights and how much you're going to need to change the spring deflection. As you can see now, I've adjusted that, and we've got a slightly different ride height to what we had before. So right, let's go and set the ride heights back. Now the easiest place to do that, when it's such a big chunk, so we want to go down to 111 or 110.9, is to come and use the Torsion Bar Offsets. Now I'll either go the wrong way or I'll go the right way. There we go. So I'm at the minute pressing shift in the click. That does 5 clicks at a time, so it just helps get it down a bit quicker. Of course, you want to match it up, so if you do as many clicks as you do on one side, you do it to the other. And it's worth pressing the pass button here after you've done a few, because this will affect the ride height again when it actually sort of settles itself down in the car and the spring deflection. So don't go crazy thinking you haven't got there and go too far, because you end up having to go back. I think it was 12.4 and it went down to 11.8. We're getting close. 2 more, might be too much actually. I think it's going to be too much. 10.7, typical. Go back 1, because I want to also change the spring deflection down. And that will lower the ride height of the car too. Because it's only one lap, we don't have to worry about it going into an invalid position through the run. Oh, very close. Yeah, I'm just slowly working back down there. We've got that 0.3 spring deflection, and we're 11.0. Oh, so close. Right, we're where we need to be. But what's interesting here as well is actually it's thrown the camber out slightly a bit as well. So we know that can happen when you cut, raise and lower the car. So we need to make sure those are even. That's going to raise the car back up a fraction. And yeah, we're just going to basically carry on working away to try and get back down to that 10.9 figure we were having. Sometimes it can take a while, and others not so much. So right, there we are, 10.9. Where we were before, but now we have, yeah, the cambers are all fine and sorted, the spring deflection is fine, and the pressures are all fine. Now we've got to head back up to the front and do basically exactly the same thing to the front end, so not quite such a big gap. So we just go, probably 3 is going to be too much already. 3 and apply that. 2. That 24.9 that we were after. Now, it's just something I like to do. I just like to get the spring deflection down to the 0.1. Front, oh, it's going to go invalid, isn't it? And get the right heights. Don't honestly think it makes much of a difference. You could probably leave it on there. It's very, very minimal. There we go. Bang. Right, so what we have there is basically a race set that's now converted to Q. It should have exactly the same balance, although the car is slightly lighter. So what you will have noticed as well is that the nose weight has changed ever so slightly. It's probably only like 0.1, because of where the fuel is in the car. That makes quite a difference. So we'll just double check that. So nose weight is at 46%. We'll just put back in 66, and we'll just see. Let's not worry about the rest of the information right now. And it looks like it stayed there. Good. So we haven't got to adjust that. Sometimes it will affect the nose weight a bit, and then you just move the ballast backwards and forwards to get the same percentage, and you should keep the same balance. Now, what might also change is because you've got such little fuel and you've been used to running with that extra fuel, the car might have a lot more turn in it, and sometimes, you know, sometimes it's just worth just going down a click on the front wing just to give you that nice comfortable feel back with it. If it's again, it's all really going to depend on what the weather's like in Q. If it's cold, then you're probably going to go down anyway. If it's hot, you're going to need to go up a little bit. So but yeah, usual rule of thumb is if it's in exactly the same weather as what you've just been testing on, like one click lower will give you the same balance and won't make it feel all snappy and whatnot. So that's it, really. That is how you go about adjusting your race set to a Q set. Now, there's a lot of other optimizations you could do. I'll be honest, we go into way more detail in the World Championship. You know, we'll have a qualifying set, we'll have a race set. They are vastly different. Try and get the balance just as optimal as we can and really use up the tyre in that one lap hot run that we do. But to be honest, we were only talking a couple of tenths of a second, 2-3 tenths max that you'll get out of it extra by going into that level of detail. So with the 2 laps that you've got in the Class A series, effectively it gives you one chance. So you're better off going with something that you know and you're happy with as a balance, rather than something that's going to be on edge. Because yeah, consistency, just get a good time on the board will help you in that. Right guys, that's the final part then of the setup tutorials with the McLaren. I hope you found this really useful. It was definitely a bit educational for me to do. And yeah, well, if anything changes next season, obviously I'll update the relevant part and go from there. Of course, they add new things in all the time, so it might be some new MGUK settings or something like that, or adjustments to certain settings that restrict us from what we can and can't do. So yeah, if needs be, I'll update. But I hope you found them useful, And yeah, don't forget to you know, do me a favour, hit the like and all that kind of stuff. Subscribe to Apex Racing TV, as yeah, we'll be doing more of these moving forward. I think next season I'm heading over to the Formula Renault 2.0 to do the whole process all over again. Alright guys, take care and enjoy the rest of your season. Just a couple of races left to go. And yeah, good luck to those that are racing for the championship.